What is the perfect combination of simplicity and depth? We're aiming to find just that edge with today's review of My City, our provided review copy coming to us from Thames and Kosmos. This 2020 release by maybe you've heard of them designer Rainer Knizia fell victim to our inability to get a group together often enough to play it, given Nicholas gestures vaguely at 2020. With social distancing guidelines relaxing and the higher rates of vaccinations among my playtesting group, we were able to get this one back to our table, and I'm happy to map out our spoiler-free review of this tetromino-laying mapmaker for you on this lovely Monday. Past our airy box cover, we'll find an equally light 8-page rulebook, and then 4 double-sided player boards on which you're going to lay these tetrominoes, which is a word I'd never thought I'd use as often as I do in my current life. It's also very hard to say smoothly, so please send our video editor good thoughts, as she's had to no doubt edit around me messing it up a half a dozen times by the end of this review. Finally, in this game's box, we have the game's chapter envelopes, which I'm not going to open. We're trying to stay spoilers free after all. A small bag of cards and the tiniest bag of wooden scoring cubes rounds out what you'll see in here for your first game. Of note, these all get packed into this center channel box design, which I normally don't love, but it really works for this game. Let's set this one up and I'll show you how it works. Designed for 2 to 4 players, My City rests on an incredibly simple premise. You and your fellow players are city planners, carefully constructing your local hamlets, one building at a time, based on the order of this deck of construction cards. You'll score points based on how well you can cluster these tetrominoes together, around other things, and on top of still other things. These things I'm referring to will change as you progress, but the main idea is always the same. Build smart and build clean. To begin, each player takes a game board and begins on the edge side. Name your villa. Obviously, I'm playing in Wesselton, don't you dare call it Weaseltown, as the Duke, and place your scoring cube at the 10 on the top of the track. Take all the tetromino tiles of your power animal denoted in the corner of your board, and you're all set up. Winning an individual game of My City involves several different scoring rubrics depending on where you are in the narrative, but generally speaking, you want to cover up as much as the open green space and rocks as possible, which will take points away at game's end, while minimizing building on top of trees, which grant you endgame points. Play begins when everyone's ready, and you turn over the top card of the construction deck. Quickly of note, I've covered up some of the more spoilery aspects of these particular boards, but you will start with a clean board. The card will reveal a colored building of a specific shape that matches one of your tiles. Take that tile and place it. Since this is the first game, it must be placed with at least one square's edge against the river. That done, once everyone's ready, you'll flip over another card, taking that tile and placing it with at least one square's edge adjacent, say it with me, orthogonally, that is, to another already built building. You can sacrifice placing a building you may not want at the cost of a point for that round, which provides some really interesting decisions throughout the game. And that, my friends, is the game's entire rule set. Flip card, place tile next to another tile, repeat. Everyone plays at the same time, so pace of play is quick early, somewhat longer in the mid-game, though not terribly so, and then it quickens up again late game as space becomes a limiting factor. So, how does this not become a game of do what your neighbor does? Because you want to win, right? A 4-way tie is not going to provide much excitement. That being said, the designers have taken this is probably the best place to put this tile for every player into account, and paired that with a pretty great catch-up mechanic that I'll only talk about in vague terms. At the end of every game, the winner will be able to color in some amount of these progress circles. Those players that don't win will usually get access to a sticker of some kind that will change future play for them only. Sometimes these stickers go on their individual player boards, giving them something to play for or around, and sometimes you'll place stickers on the tiles themselves, opening up new point avenues. Each of the game's 8 chapters is made up of 3 individual games, called episodes, which play in 20 to 30 minutes. Opening a new chapter envelope is really exciting stuff, as each one will contain new goodies to expand your individual games. New scoring possibilities, rewards for winning and losing, even in-game rule changes. They're all in there. And apart from being fun to see what's next, these also provide much-needed variation between plays. I mentioned earlier that you can ditch a revealed tile for a point loss, but sometimes you'll play a round that doesn't let you do that. This forces you to find a home for every single building, and as soon as you find yourself without room for the tile, well, you're out of the game. Little tweaks like this make each game feel fresh and fun, even though you're really just repeating the same tiles on a slightly varying grid. My City is a game that can easily be played pretty casually, but still has enough thinkiness in it for players who really want to squeeze out every possible point. We're halfway through the chapters in our game that my wife and I play with our neighbors while our respective kids play together in another room, and it's perfect. There's time to duck out of a game quick to go resolve a minor dispute, and we can snack and talk while we play. It's perfectly casual for the not quite so hardcore gamers and logistically interesting enough for the more capital G gamers. It's honestly hard to find something not to like about My City. The building tiles are nice and chunky and don't move around on the boards too much. The construction cards are just fine and the player boards feel very sturdy. Truly, the only complaint that I could see some people having about this one is that it's definitely on the lighter end of the spectrum and the legacy content isn't massively game-changing. It's more of a gentle nudge as new things get added. I say that with full recognition that I really like the base gameplay here, so I didn't want it to change a ton. As always, your mileage may vary. My City is a sterling example of balancing simplicity with mechanics of difficulty of attaining perfection, fed mostly by the slightly different press your luck elements at play. But then again, what do we expect from a Reiner game? Let's go through our checklist before I give you my final thoughts. In the box, rulebook clear and non-gender pronouns. Our Featherlight 8-page rulebook devotes 2 pages to how you'll play the game after you've made it through all the included envelopes, leaving a scant 6 for how this one is played before that. With a rule set this plainly simple, it does so easily and clearly with very little room for confusion. It does so by referring to the player or sometimes he or she throughout. Iconography clear. Without venturing into spoilers, I'll say that yes, any iconography you may or may not come across in the game is clear and easy to understand simply by looking. Packaging well done. My City included enough bags to house each player's tetrominoes, and the box's center channel design is a perfect fit for what's here. It's saying a lot when I recommend that specific choice, too. On the table, good representation. No people, no animals, only building. Component quality. While the tiles are standard punch, they serve their purpose nicely and fit the game's overall cottagecore theme. The double-sided player boards are great, not overly thick, but they feel like they could probably take a spill and bounce back nicely. Replay value. It pains me to say that I don't know. My testing group for this one didn't make it all the way through the campaign, as I mentioned before, but I will tell you that there are rules in the book for how to play after you're done with all 8 chapters, and that's what the reverse side of the boards is for. A big draw for me personally in the game was seeing what's coming next. However, I'll admit that each individual game is entertaining enough that I might just bring it back out after we've cleared the content just to see. Fun to lose. Yes. In a 4-player game, the first and second place players each get to fill in progress circles, and often there's a catch-up bonus for the players who didn't do well in a particular game. With 24 individual games to be had before you're done with the provided envelopes, the real draw of seeing what's coming next is a great salve for a game loss. My City was an outstanding surprise for my group, and introducing 2 gamers who prefer lighter experiences to this one as it built worked perfectly. The curve is spot on, and each game is breezy enough to be enjoyed with a beverage and a snack, but surprisingly crunchy enough to benefit the player who enjoys planning ahead. At 20 to 30 minutes per game and 3 games to a chapter, dividing this one up into 8 sessions or so provides an absolutely brilliant experience each and every time. I'm Nicholas, reminding you to help protect the game population. Always sleeve your cards. Hey everyone, if you liked our video, please hit that sub button and ring that bell for notifications. Check out all of our other offerings at goodluckhighfive.com, and please consider becoming a patron of the channel over at patreon.com/GLHFmagic. It helps us keep making reviews, videos, podcasts, and you can become a member for any dollar amount. We're also always looking for new games to review. You can reach us at glhfmagic@gmail.com. You can follow me, Captain N the Game Master, at CaptainNGM on Twitter and Instagram, and follow the channel at GLHFmagic. Remember, please shop at your local game store whenever possible. Until next time, I'm Nicholas, and good luck. High five.